There comes a moment in everyone's life when the desire to keep going suddenly disappears. You wake up one day, and the motivation you once relied on, it's gone. The fire that kept you pushing, grinding, dreaming, now it feels dim, almost silent. And in that silence, you start questioning yourself. Why don't I feel like moving forward anymore? What's wrong with me? But the truth is, nothing is wrong with you. That silence isn't punishment. It's not failure. It's a message you've ignored so many times before. A message that finally rises when your inner world can't carry the weight anymore. You see, when life gets heavy, when responsibilities stack up, when people expect more than you can give, your mind protects you the only way it knows how, by pulling you back. That loss of desire is not a sign that you're weak or that you're slipping. It's your soul whispering, slow down. Listen to me. Something inside you needs attention. But most people, instead of listening, force themselves to push harder. They think grinding will fix everything. They think running faster will outrun the pain. But the truth is, if you don't pause when your spirit asks you to, life will force you to pause later through burnout, exhaustion, or collapse. Those low moments are not meant to break you, they are meant to open your eyes. Life doesn't shout its warnings, it whispers them. It warns you through the discomfort you ignore. It warns you through the emotional fatigue you pretend doesn't exist. And when you still don't listen, it warns you through the loss of motivation, the very fuel you rely on to move forward. Losing the desire to keep going is not the end. It's the beginning of awareness, the beginning of honesty, the beginning of a new direction. Think about the times you kept pushing even though you were drained. You stayed in situations that took more than they gave. You held on to people who only showed up when they needed you. You carried emotional weight that wasn't yours to carry. And you kept going because you thought strength meant enduring everything without pausing. But strength is not measured by how long you can suffer. Strength is measured by how quickly you recognize the message hidden inside your suffering. Sometimes life slows your spirit down because you've been running in the wrong direction for too long. Sometimes the loss of desire is a redirection, not a downfall. It's life nudging you to re-evaluate what you're fighting for, who you're fighting for, and whether the path you're walking still aligns with your soul. When you lose the desire to keep going, don't panic. Don't force yourself to fake motivation. Don't pretend to be okay. Sit with the silence. Listen to the discomfort. Observe the exhaustion. Your low moments have clarity hidden inside them. They reveal the parts of your life that need healing, the boundaries you've never set, the dreams you've stopped nurturing, and the peace you've been sacrificing just to meet expectations that were never yours. This moment, this heaviness, this pause, could be the turning point that changes everything. It's your inner world asking for balance, for honesty, for care. You are not losing your strength, you are rediscovering it. Because real strength comes from listening to yourself, even when the world expects you to keep moving. And when you do listen, truly listen, you don't just continue. You rise differently, you rise clearer, lighter, stronger. There comes a time when you have to be brutally honest about what's draining you. The tiredness you feel isn't just physical. It's emotional, it's mental, it's spiritual. And when you lose the desire to keep going, it's often because something or someone is pulling your energy in a direction that no longer serves your peace. You can't protect your peace if you're blind to what's destroying it. And most of the destruction doesn't happen loudly. It happens quietly, slowly, piece by piece, until one day you wake up wondering why you feel so empty. The truth is, not everything that's part of your life is meant to stay. Not every responsibility, not every habit, not every relationship deserves access to your heart. Some things drain you long before you realize it. They take your energy quietly, through constant negativity, through expectations that feel like pressure, through cycles that repeat again and again without change. And because you've become used to carrying these weights, you stop questioning them. You assume it's normal. You assume it's just life. But losing your desire to keep going is the moment when life forces you to notice the truth you've been avoiding. You have to look at what surrounds you. Who drains your peace? What environments make your chest feel heavy? What patterns leave you mentally exhausted but emotionally empty? These answers don't come from rushing. They come from listening to the silence inside you, the same silence you tried to ignore. That silence is your intuition trying to protect you. It's telling you that something in your life is no longer aligned with who you're becoming. Sometimes it's people. People who only speak to you when they need something. People who take your kindness as a resource. People who don't celebrate you, don't support you, don't understand you. You keep giving, hoping they'll give back. You keep showing up, hoping they'll see your worth. And somewhere along the way, you lose yourself trying to keep them. Your peace slips away slowly, unnoticed, until suddenly, you have no desire left to continue. That's not coincidence. That's your spirit saying, you're giving too much in the wrong places. Sometimes it's your habits. The late nights spent scrolling. The routines that keep you stuck. The thoughts that keep you doubting yourself. The cycle of comparison that eats away at your confidence. These small habits feel harmless, but they drain your energy over time. They strip away your peace quietly, like a slow leak you didn't notice until the tank is empty. And then sometimes, the biggest drain is the environment you stay in, a place where your growth isn't supported, a job that suffocates your passion, a house full of chaos, a circle that doesn't speak life into you. When your surroundings don't reflect who you are, your spirit feels trapped, and that trapped feeling becomes the loss of desire you can't explain. Protecting your peace means choosing yourself, not in a selfish way, but in a life-saving way. It means recognizing when something is taking more than it gives. It means stepping back from noise, even if the noise comes from people you care about. It means removing your energy from places that no longer deserve it. You don't lose desire because you're weak. You lose desire because your soul is tired of being drained. And the moment you identify what's pulling you down, everything changes. You gain clarity. You gain control. You gain strength not from forcing yourself forward, but from removing the things that hold you back. When you protect your peace, your energy returns. Your motivation rises, your spirit breathes again, and you finally move toward life with a heart that has space to grow. There is a point in every journey where you have to stop pretending that you're okay and finally rebuild yourself from the inside out. When the desire to keep going fades, when your energy feels scattered, when your spirit feels empty, that is not the moment to push harder. It's the moment to repair what life has been silently breaking inside you. You can't rise with real strength if the foundation within you is cracked. You can't move forward with power if your heart is exhausted. You can't pour into your dreams if your inner world is running on fumes. This is where rebuilding begins, not with action, not with hustle, not with forcing yourself into productivity. It begins with honesty, honest conversations with yourself about what hurts, what scares you, what you've been avoiding, and what you're truly craving deep within. The world teaches you to keep climbing, keep grinding, keep pushing even when your insides are falling apart. But eventually, you lose the desire to continue because you've abandoned your own emotional needs for too long. And when that moment arrives, it's a wake-up call, a reminder that your inner world needs attention just as much as your outer goals. Rebuilding is not weakness. It's the most courageous thing you can do. It requires you to face the truth without running from it. It requires you to reconnect with yourself when you've spent so much time disconnected. It requires you to acknowledge that the drive you once had didn't disappear. It just waited for you to heal enough to hold it again. Maybe you've been carrying pain that no one knows about. Maybe you've been holding on to memories that still sting. Maybe you've been pretending to be strong for everyone around you. The weight builds quietly until your spirit finally says, I can't carry this anymore. And that is the exact moment life gives you an invitation, not to quit, but to rebuild. You rebuild by giving yourself the rest you've denied. You rebuild by creating boundaries you never had the courage to set. You rebuild by letting go of people who drain your spirit. You rebuild by forgiving yourself for all the times you broke your own heart trying to please others. You rebuild by choosing peace over pressure, clarity over chaos, healing over pretending. Rebuilding is an inside job. No one can do it for you. No amount of motivation videos, no amount of external success, no amount of praise from others can fill a heart that feels empty. The rebuilding happens when you sit with your own pain long enough to understand it, when you rest long enough to recover, when you care for yourself deeply enough to rise with intention instead of desperation. And something beautiful happens once you begin this inner rebuilding. Your strength returns, not the forced kind that burns you out, but the grounded kind that lasts. Your direction becomes clearer. Your purpose feels real again. The noise that once overwhelmed you begins to fade. You start to breathe differently. You start to think differently. You start to move differently. And then one day, the desire you thought you lost begins to come back. Not because you forced it, but because you made space for it. You repaired what was broken. You nurtured what was neglected. You created room for your spirit to stand up again. When you rebuild yourself from the inside, you don't just continue, you grow. You rise stronger, softer, wiser, and more aligned with the life meant for you. And that inner rebuilding becomes the foundation of your peace, your purpose, and your power. There comes a moment after the storm, after the doubt, after the exhaustion, when you finally begin to rise again. But this time, the rise cannot be rushed. The return cannot be forced. The comeback must be shaped by clarity, not chaos. Because if you return to your journey with the same confusion, the same noise, the same emotional clutter that drained you before, you'll fall right back into the same cycle of losing your desire to keep going. Your comeback has to be intentional. It has to be rooted in a deeper understanding of who you are and what truly matters to your peace. When you've been low, when you've lost motivation, when your spirit has been tired, something inside you changes. You don't see life the same way. You don't see people the same way. You don't even see yourself the same way. The heaviness you survived gives you a kind of clarity you could never get from success or certainty. It teaches you what hurt you, what healed you, what drained you, and what truly lifted you. That clarity is your gift, your advantage, your protection. And this time when you rise guided by that clarity, not the pressure to keep up with the world. Coming back with clarity means you don't chase everything anymore. You become selective. You understand that not every opportunity deserves your energy. Not every person deserves access to your heart. Not every fight deserves your strength. Peace becomes your priority, not approval. Purpose becomes your compass, not comparison. You begin to move differently, slower, steadier, with intention. You know what overwhelmed you before, so you avoid it. You know what drained you before, so you distance yourself. You know what robbed your motivation, so you protect your spirit with boundaries that once scared you. People might not understand this version of you. They might think you're distant. They might think you're changed. They might think you're cold. But the truth is, you're just more aware. You're more honest. You're living from a place of self-respect instead of self-neglect. You've learned that your peace is worth protecting, even if it disappoints others. You've learned that your energy is precious, and you don't give it away the same way you used to. This clarity makes you stronger, not harder, wiser, not colder. And as you step back into life with this renewed clarity, something else happens. The desire you lost slowly begins to return, but not in the frantic way it once appeared. It returns as calm confidence. It returns as quiet strength. It returns as inner certainty. It returns because now you're moving with alignment, not force. Purpose feels real again. Motivation feels natural again. The path ahead no longer feels like a burden, it feels like a calling. This clarity doesn't remove challenges from your life. It simply gives you the wisdom to navigate them without losing yourself. It reminds you that your peace is non-negotiable, that your energy deserves protection, that your spirit deserves care. This clarity becomes the foundation of every decision you make, every step you take, every relationship you let in or let go. When you come back with clarity, you're no longer running blindly toward success. You're walking intentionally toward a life that actually feels like yours. And that kind of return is stronger than any forced motivation. Because when you rise again with clarity instead of chaos, you don't just continue, you finally move toward the life that was waiting for you all along.